So I actually miscarried twice to lose 3 angel baby in the process. And now I have my rainbow baby of 7 years old. So the miscarriage actually happens in 2011 and 2012.
So one of the miscarriage was twins.
Yeah, the second pregnancy, yes.
Did it hit you, like the moment that it happened?
Yeah, obviously you couldn't accept. At 23 weeks, my water bag burst. So back then, I didn't know what happened. I actually even went to shower before rushing to A&E. So it was a boy, and yeah, he was born. And being too premature, that's where I miscarried. And that was really the first experience that I had. Then, yeah.
What are their names of the children who have passed on?
So the first one was Dominic. The twins was Elvis and Louis. And then now Titus. Yeah.
So how old would they have been? Dominic.
So by right, 11, and the twins would be 10. Yeah.
Did like the miscarriage stop you from wanting to be a mom?
I'm very determined. So I'm very determined to be a mom. I know I will still have one of these days, but don't know when. The twins was our hope. Me and my husband even discussed about, the future plans. Well, we need to buy 2 cars for them, or like going university, the double bills, the kind of thing. So when none of this fall through, it was again a very big setback for us. So then the question again is, will you ever become a mom? And it's like, when is this going to happen? Yeah. So there's a lot of all these unknown questions that nobody can answer you also.
Like, was there a weird question that someone asked you? Anything funny?
Not saying weird question, but it's like they meant well, but it didn't came off as well.
I'm curious.
Of course, they say everything happened for a reason. I'm sure they are up there happily ever after. Then you're like, I don't want them happily after. I want them with me here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Until today, right, do you think, how many children do you see yourself as having?
4. So we actually have a niche for them. They are kept together. So my boy now is 7. He knows of them. So there are of course times whereby you feel like you should be there with them and not here. It's like, okay, one parent, one side, that kind of idea. But then you also know that he's very young, he still needs you.
You mentioned that you were suicidal, were you? What rooted you then?
Because I stay at 12th floor, so I was sleeping at the side whereby the window is just beside me. So I'm asking myself, what is stopping myself to just jump off? You just open it.
But what stopped you?
So the question you're asking myself is, you're denying yourself of another chance, and then you're giving up, which is what I don't want, obviously. Why should I be giving up? There's still hope, there's still chance. I still have the womb, I still can try. And I felt that it's not the end.
How do you think the partner can help someone that's going through a miscarriage actually?
Frankly, there's no hard and fast rule. It really depends on who your partner is. And when they are coping with grief, it's like, it's out of the zone. It's out of the emo zone that you used to know her around with. So that's when it's a really very delicate positions that you just have to see your cue from the partners. So you can just ask, and if you say yes or no, then you just have to take the lead.
So no matter what, just try to communicate.
So there is this one part whereby, because my younger sis being a registered nurse, so she did highlighted to me was that my husband also lost. For us lady, we just cry. We don't care, public, not public, we just cry. But guys cannot show tears. So for him, he's crying in the toilet. Frankly, he told me was that he was like 4 a.m. at the mortuary trying to get the procedural done, and the caretaker say, no, I don't have the correct document. So it's very hard for him. It's like, who want to be there at that kind of hour? And then here he is, and it's like trying to get people to get things done.
How do you feel when you met other pregnant ladies after your miscarriages?
So frankly, there was a point in time I avoided certain areas like Marina Square Shopping Mall, all those family-friendly malls, because there are more pregnant ladies. you feel like you don't want to face it then. And of course, having said so, then my sis is the one who is pregnant. So it's like, you can avoid everyone, you can avoid your sis. So we actually meet up with my parents every Sunday for dinner. So it's like, it's kind of challenging, definitely, that to see that the tummy is getting bigger and bigger. And then, yeah, you are seeing that she's doing well, but yet you don't have a child of your own. My mom told her that I can't be happy for your firstborn, which is also very hard on her, because that was her firstborn and obviously she wanted to be happy, but yet because my mom was also feeling the grief from my side, that she don't know how to be happy for her. And being the younger sis, of course you want to be there for her, but then you yourself is also feeling the loss, the pain. And also you are not a mom yet. You also don't know what you don't know. So how to help her?
Do you feel like your past miscarriages made you a very protective mom? Or like...
Yes, definitely. For the first 4 years at least. And it got to the extent that even my friends didn't see him. So actually my friend actually commented that they only see him on social media, on photograph.
Like, why do you think like you never brought him out?
So there was the fear, obviously. There was the fear that, touch wood, is he going to leave us again? I sign up to every motherhood forum, portals, whatever that I can find, or I'm member to it. In case any rare diseases that I'm unknown of, I also sign to make sure I'm in the known. Every other fever, we went to a PD to see the doctor. And that's when the PD also said, if he had fever, just give him meds lah. And you don't need to come and see me. You don't need to always come and see me. So that's when also we realized like we are a bit paranoia, a bit kanchiong parents. Then we know we have to step back a bit. So when you get married, do you plan to have kids?
I'm currently like leaning towards a no. Maybe it's because like a lot of people around me are also more open to the idea of not having children after marriage, and yeah, I don't really see that in my future anytime soon.
It'll be interesting to know when the child really does come in, you give up everything, frankly, in some point.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I'm very curious to know. So maybe if me and my partner ever next time like talk about it, maybe I will want a children. Maybe it's like about who you do life with, right? Yeah. But do you think then parenthood became more exciting because you had so many years to yourself first?
Thankfully, in that sense, somehow we look back, it's like, thankfully got the 10 years. Not free after that, not free.
Yeah, for sure.
And that is all centered around him.
Yeah.
But it's also good in the sense that you relive your life again, because through him, you seen what you were when you were younger. So every little things become very interesting. Even there's flowers on the floor, there's like stars in the sky. Suddenly it's interesting.
Wait, you never noticed this when you were with your husband?
No. It's like you walk. You know, you don't see this kind of thing, you don't stop to really appreciate life. And then suddenly when through his eyes, he's like, wow, mommy, you see there's so much flowers on the bridge. I'm like, got flower, man? He said, oh, really got flower.
What would you say is like the best part of being a mom?
The best part is when you come home and your boys runs to you, shouting mommy, because that's the only title that belongs to you, and not the whatever other title. And it cannot be taken away. You really have to earn that title, right? Yeah. So there are times when I was like teaching him certain things or whatever, suddenly he write 10 upon 10, then he come to you and stick on you. Then you're like, wow. And it's like giving you credit for it. Because there's always times you feel inadequate.
What do you rate yourself out of 10 then, like right now?
I think maybe 7.
7?
Yeah.
I think 10 out of 10 sounds okay.
Thank you.
I know, because like, if anyone knows how great of a mother you are, it's your kid. And if he thinks that you're 10 out of 10, I think that's right. At least that sounds about right.